It's 50,000 BC. You're sitting at the edge of your camp when you see someone coming, not from your group, a stranger, moving towards you across open ground. No police to call, no ID to check, no mutual friends to vouch for them, no Yelp review, no LinkedIn profile, no way to Google what happened the last time someone trusted this person. Just you, the fire, and a human being walking toward you whose intentions you cannot verify and whose history you know nothing about. What do you do? Because here's what's actually at stake. Get it wrong in one direction and you just let a threat inside your perimeter. Someone who will take your food, your tools, your safety, maybe your life. Get it wrong in the other direction and you've just turned away a potential ally. Someone who knew where water was, who had skills your group lacked, who could have been the difference between making it through winter or not. In a world without surplus, without storage, without any of the buffers modern life provides, both mistakes were potentially fatal. Trust too much and you die. Trust too little and you also die, just more slowly and more alone. And yet somehow, against those odds, in that environment, with none of the infrastructure we take for granted, ancient humans figured it out. They built cooperation at a scale no other species has ever managed. They formed alliances with strangers. They traded across distances, coordinated hunts, migrations, conflicts with people they had never met and would never meet again. They solved what might be the hardest social problem in existence. How do you extend trust when you have no way to verify it? Most people assume the answer is obvious. You trusted family. You trusted people you'd known your whole life. Everyone else was a threat by default. Clean, simple, logical. Except that's not what the evidence shows. Not even close. The actual story of how ancient humans built trust is stranger, faster, more biological, and more surprising than anything you'd construct sitting down and thinking about it rationally. It reaches into parts of your brain you don't control. It runs on signals you can't fake and chemistry you can't override. And the most unsettling part? It's still running in you right now, every single day, whether you know it or not. Here's what most people assume. Ancient humans trusted family. Full stop. You trusted your mother, your siblings, your cousins. Everyone else was a threat until proven otherwise. It's a clean, intuitive answer. It feels obviously correct. And it's mostly wrong. Here's the problem with the just trust your relatives theory. For most of human prehistory, we weren't living in isolated family units. We were living in bands of 20 to 150 people, and those bands were constantly interacting, trading, merging during harsh seasons, splitting apart when resources got thin, borrowing members from neighboring groups. Archaeological evidence from burial sites across Africa, Europe, and Asia consistently shows that ancient humans were moving significant distances from their birth communities. Isotope analysis of bones, which can tell researchers where a person spent their childhood based on the minerals locked into their teeth, reveals that many individuals buried in a given location grew up somewhere entirely different. These were not isolated clans sealed off from the outside world. These were fluid, mobile, deeply interconnected social networks full of strangers. And strangers are a problem, because a stranger brings no track record, no shared history, no accumulated evidence of behavior under pressure. You have never seen this person make a decision when the stakes were real. You don't know if they'll share when food is scarce. You don't know if they'll hold the line when something dangerous is coming. You don't know if they'll take your supplies the moment your back is turned. And you need to figure all of that out fast, because the cost of getting it wrong wasn't awkward, it was catastrophic. So researchers started asking a different question. Not who did ancient humans trust, but how? What was the actual mechanism? And what they found dismantles another comfortable assumption, which is that trust was primarily a rational calculation, that early humans were essentially running mental spreadsheets, weighing evidence, looking for logical proof of reliability before extending cooperation. That's not what the evidence suggests, at all. What the evidence suggests is that the decision to trust happened before conscious reasoning even got involved. That the brain was solving this problem on a level so fast and so deep that the decision was already made before a single word was spoken, before a single question was asked. Which raises something genuinely unsettling. If ancient humans weren't consciously reasoning their way to trust, what were they actually doing? What was the machinery running underneath? And the answer to that question is one of the stranger things modern neuroscience has uncovered about what it means to be human. Your brain makes a trust assessment in under 100 milliseconds. That's not a metaphor. That's a measured, documented, reproducible finding from cognitive neuroscience. Before you've heard a single sentence, before you've shaken a hand, before you've consciously registered that another person is even there, something deep in your neural architecture has already run an evaluation and returned a verdict. The structure doing most of this work is the amygdala, a small almond-shaped region sitting near the base of your brain that has been doing threat assessment since long before humans existed. It doesn't think, it doesn't deliberate. It pattern matches at extraordinary speed against everything your nervous system has ever learned about what safety looks like and what danger looks like, and it flags the result instantly. What is it actually reading? More than you'd expect. Micro-expressions, the involuntary flickers of genuine emotion that cross a face in under a fifth of a second and cannot be consciously controlled. Gaze direction and duration, the subtle synchronization of movement, whether someone is unconsciously mirroring your posture and rhythm, which signals alignment, or holding themselves deliberately still, which can signal concealment. Vocal pitch and cadence, breathing patterns visible in the chest and throat. Even smell, processed below conscious awareness, carries chemical information about stress levels and genetic compatibility that your brain is quietly reading whether you know it or not. Ancient humans had no language for any of this, but they had the hardware, and crucially, so did everyone they were evaluating. Which means trust in a prehistoric context wasn't one person reading another. It was two nervous systems in constant real-time conversation, each running continuous threat assessments on the other, each broadcasting signals they couldn't fully control, each updating their evaluation with every passing second of interaction. Here's what makes this even more remarkable. Oxytocin, the neurochemical most associated with bonding and trust, gets released not just through physical touch, but through synchronized behavior. Moving together, eating together, breathing at the same rhythm, sitting around a fire long enough that your nervous systems start to entrain to each other. Ancient humans who shared space, shared meals, shared the same rhythmic activities over time were literally building trust at a chemical level without any conscious intention to do so. The body was solving the problem the whole time. The brain just took credit for it. And the signals that triggered that chemistry, the ones that said this person is safe, were surprisingly specific, consistent, cross-cultural, which means they weren't learned, they were built in, inherited from ancestors who had been running exactly this same calculation for millions of years before the first human ever sat down and wondered whether to trust the stranger walking toward the fire. Biology gets you so far, but a nervous system reading micro-expressions can still be fooled. Psychopaths have micro-expressions too. Skilled liars can modulate their vocal pitch. Someone patient and calculating enough can mirror your posture, match your breathing, trigger your oxytocin response, and walk away with everything you have. The biological hardware for trust assessment is powerful. It is not foolproof, and ancient humans figured that out early. So they built something on top of it: social technology. The first and most powerful tool was reputation. In a band of 20 to 150 people, your behavior was never private. Every decision you made was witnessed, remembered, and talked about. Did you share meat after a successful hunt, or did you take more than your portion? Did you hold your position when something dangerous came, or did you run? Did you keep your word when keeping it cost you something? In a small group with no possibility of anonymity, your entire history of behavior was the community's shared database. And that database was constantly updated, constantly referenced, and extremely difficult to falsify over time because performance under pressure is hard to fake consistently across years. Here's the problem the skeptic in the room has already spotted. What about strangers? Reputation works inside the group. It fails completely the moment someone walks in from outside it. And as we established, that happened constantly. This is where ritual enters the picture. And ritual is a far more sophisticated technology than it gets credit for being. Across virtually every ancient culture researchers have documented, trust between strangers was established through shared physical experience rather than exchanged information. Eating from the same food, drinking from the same vessel, undergoing the same painful initiation, bearing the same permanent mark on the body. These weren't arbitrary customs. They were precision instruments for solving a specific problem. Here's why they worked. Costly signals are hard to fake. If someone is willing to endure real pain, real hunger, real physical transformation alongside you, they have put something irreversible into the relationship. They have skin in the game in the most literal sense possible. A tattoo, a scar, a shared ordeal. These things create what anthropologists call committed identity. You are now someone who has done this thing. That cannot be undone. And the group that witnessed it holds you to it permanently. Shared ritual also does something subtler. It synchronizes nervous systems at scale. The drumming, the movement in unison, the collective experience of something overwhelming. All of it triggers the same neurochemical bonding response that sitting around a fire produces, but amplified, accelerated, and extended to people you've never met before. The handshake you exchanged this morning is a fossil of all of this, a remnant of a gesture that once meant something much larger. I am coming to you open-handed. I have put my weapon down. My body is doing something that costs me vulnerability, and you can see it. That was never nothing. That was everything. Here's something worth sitting with for a moment. Everything described in the last 4 blocks, the amygdala firing in under 100 milliseconds, the nervous systems reading each other in real time, the oxytocin released through synchronized movement, the reputation networks, the costly signals, the ritual scars. None of it has gone anywhere. It is all still running. Right now, in you, today. You live in a world of institutions. Contracts, credit scores, background checks, verified reviews, LinkedIn profiles, legal systems designed to punish defection. You have more external infrastructure for managing trust than any human in history. And yet you still walk into a room and know within seconds whether you trust someone. You still feel it before you can explain it. You still override perfectly logical evidence sometimes because something just feels off. And sometimes you're right in a way you cannot defend with data. That's not irrationality. That's 50,000 years of field-tested software running exactly as designed. The system your ancestors built wasn't replaced by modern institutions. It was layered under them. The conscious, rational, contractual machinery of modern trust sits on top of something much older and much faster that is doing most of the actual work without asking your permission. Which explains some things that are otherwise hard to account for. Why a charismatic person with a terrible track record keeps getting trusted. The signals are good even when the history isn't, and the ancient hardware weights signals heavily. Why you sometimes trust a stranger instantly and completely for reasons you can't articulate. Your nervous system ran the numbers and came back confident before your prefrontal cortex had time to weigh in. Why betrayal by someone close feels categorically different from being wronged by a stranger or an institution. It doesn't just feel bad, it feels like a violation of something fundamental. Because it is. Because the system that extended that trust was built for a world where betrayal inside the group could end everything. The stakes your ancestors were playing for are gone. The machinery they used to navigate those stakes is not. So the next time you meet someone and feel that immediate, wordless, inexplicable sense that this person is safe, or that something is wrong, pay attention to it. Not blindly, not instead of thinking, but alongside it. Because that signal is old, far older than language, far older than any institution humans have ever built. It was the first social technology. It kept your ancestors alive long enough to have children who eventually had you. It's still working. You just forgot it had a name. Блок 1. Блок 1 – крючок и ставки. It's 50,000 BC. You're sitting at the edge of your camp when you see someone coming, not from your group, a stranger, moving toward you across open ground. No police to call, no ID to check, no mutual friends to vouch for them, no Yelp review, no LinkedIn profile, no way to Google what happened the last time someone trusted this person. Just you, the fire, and a human being walking toward you whose intentions you cannot verify and whose history you know nothing about. What do you do? Because here's what's actually at stake. Get it wrong in one direction, and you've just let a threat inside your perimeter. Someone who will take your food, your tools, your safety, maybe your life. Get it wrong in the other direction, and you've just turned away a potential ally. Someone who knew where water was, who had skills your group lacked, who could have been the difference between making it through winter or not. In a world without surplus, without storage, without any of the buffers modern life provides, both mistakes were potentially fatal. Trust too much and you die. Trust too little and you also die, just more slowly and more alone. And yet somehow, against those odds, in that environment, with none of the infrastructure we take for granted, ancient humans figured it out. They built cooperation at a scale no other species has ever managed. They formed alliances with strangers. They traded across distances. They coordinated hunts, migrations, conflicts with people they had never met and would never meet again. They solved what might be the hardest social problem in existence. How do you extend trust when you have no way to verify it? Most people assume the answer is obvious. You trusted family. You trusted people you'd known your whole life. Everyone else was a threat by default. Clean, simple, logical. Except that's not what the evidence shows. Not even close. The actual story of how ancient humans built trust is stranger, faster, more biological, and more surprising than anything you'd construct sitting down and thinking about it rationally. It reaches into parts of your brain you don't control. It runs on signals you can't fake and chemistry you can't override. And the most unsettling part? It's still running in you right now, every single day, whether you know it or not.